Now let's jump in and figure out, all right, why the heck should you become a certified Kolbe consultant? So I mentioned it earlier, but I know some of you are just now connecting. My name is Eric Herrera. I'm our VP of Sales, and in Kolbe lingo, I'm a 5392. We're not going to talk a lot about what that 5392 means, but if you're familiar with Kolbe, if you understand what the colorful bars and the numbers are, you're definitely going to see that 5392 MO start to come out. And it's, because I can't help it. It's just a part of me, just like your results, your natural strengths are just a part of you. So I'll be your tour guide for the next, 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere in there. And I just want to give you kind of a heads up. All right, what are some of our stops along this tour? Where are we going to head? So here's our agenda for today. First is we're going to talk about the Kolbe difference, right? There are, I don't even know how many thousands of different assessments out there, but Kolbe definitely is unique and it does stand out. So we're going to talk about what makes it unique and how can you use that uniqueness in the marketplace, whether you're an internal consultant working with your peers, right? You're the head of HR and you're working with the VP of operations or the VP of sales. Or if you're an external coach or consultant, how do you differentiate those from others in the marketplace that offer similar kinds of services? Then we're going to talk about the Kolbe system. We've been doing this for over 40 years. And throughout that time, we have figured out what's the best way to integrate Kolbe into a business to have those amazing positive outcomes that all of us are looking for. We'll definitely talk about certification, some of the benefits and the process, how it actually works. And then we're going to leave you with some next steps. And we do have a special gift for you towards the end. So make sure you hang out towards the end and you'll be able to take advantage of that. All right. So where I really want to start here today is I want to ask you all a question. So in a second, Heather on our training team, she's going to pop up a poll and I'd like all of you to answer. And the question I'm going to ask is, what people-related challenge is your top priority right now? Because that will help me adjust a little bit of content for you. So the poll should be open. Go ahead and answer. All right, so we got collaboration in teams is in the lead with hiring, recruiting, and retention coming in a close second. I think next time we do this, I'm going to get one of those, the horn that they play before the horse race. We're going to get one of those before this thing kicks off. But collaboration in teams is still in the lead, followed by personal development, closely by hiring and how to be more productive. So it looks like we got about 84% of you that have participated so far. So thank you. And we will give it, let's call it 10 more seconds, then we're going to close this thing out. So the 4 of you that haven't answered yet, go ahead and answer, and then we'll close it out. All right, perfect. So Heather's going to go ahead and share those results with you. So as you can see, collaboration in teams took the, started out in front and kind of finished in front. But in a close second is personal development personal development, followed by leadership development, hiring, retention, and then how to be more productive, or all of the above. So one of the cool things about Kolbe is we can help with all of that stuff. And that's part of the differentiator that I mentioned earlier. So thank you for participating in that poll. I have another exercise for you. So what I'd like all of you to do now is I would like all of you to close your eyes for a second. And what I would like you to visualize is whichever one of those things that you chose, whether it's hiring, teams, whatever it is, I want you to picture what that challenge is that you're facing right now. Right? It could be you have a team that's not performing very well. It could be you're in charge of recruiting and you're having a really difficult time finding some of those amazing candidates out there. Whatever it is, close your eyes, start to picture whatever that challenge is. Now what I'd like you to do is I want you to picture that challenge as solved, as you figured out the solution for it. And it's now the day after you've implemented that solution, and it's almost as if that weight is lifted off your shoulder. You feel lighter. You feel almost like you're floating, right? That's what I want you to begin to picture in your mind. All right, so now you can open your eyes. Thank you for playing along with me. Part of the reason we start with that exercise is honestly, that's our goal here at Kolbe. That is our whole mission. Our mission since we started back in 1975 is to help people understand their own strengths and use it in a way that's important to them, right? So for you, it might be, helping this team that isn't producing at a high level. It could be helping yourself in those recruiting challenges. It could be, how do I become more productive? Whatever your goal is with using Kolbe, we would love to help you with that. And as I said, that's our mission as a business. Your goal may be, hey, I just want to understand my significant other at a deeper level. Well, we can help with that too. And as you can see, right, we started back in 1975, and we've been doing that since even before then. It's helping people understand, how do you take action, how do you problem solve, and use it in a way that's important to you. And throughout that time, we've been lucky enough to work with lots of different amazing clients, right? And up here, you have some pretty big names and some logos of businesses that you're probably familiar with. But if we showed you all of the businesses that we've worked with throughout our 40 plus years, you would notice some additional logos. And there would be some on there where you would scratch your head and go, I have no idea what that is. And part of the reason for that is we're focused on the people part of the business, right? And so if you have one person in your business or hundreds of thousands, like some of these companies up here, either way, we're talking about that same squishy thing called people, right? And so we can help businesses of all shapes, sizes, industries, regardless of employee count, because we're all focusing on those amazing individuals called people. And here's what we found through our 40 plus years of working with these clients. We all have lots of different strengths, and there's tons of stuff that make us who we are, right? The stuff that we've learned, our experiences, some of our natural tendencies, some stuff that's innate. All of those come together and, kind of in this pot or in this soup and make all of us the amazing people that we are. Well, it turns out if you start to think about it, that in terms of strengths that we all have, there's this concept called the 3 parts of the mind. And I wish at Kolbe we were smart enough to figure this stuff out, but the ancient Greeks beat us by a couple of thousand years. So way back in the time of Aristotle, Plato, way back then, they were talking about 3 parts of the mind. If you want to think about it as, 3 buckets of strengths, I'm okay with that too. So now let's talk about what are those buckets of strengths or those parts of the mind. The first part of the mind, it's called the cognitive piece. It's the stuff that's locked inside of your head, right? Your natural intelligence, the skills that you've acquired over time, the experiences that you've gained over time, the stuff that you learned in school, your educational background, all of that goes together and that creates your cognitive strengths. The second part is what we call the affective part of the mind. So think of this as the heart component, right? What's your motivation? What's the reason you get up and do the amazing work that you do every day? What values do you have? What values do you have inside of your business? What values do you share with your ideal clients? What also lives in affect are things like personality. So are you an extroverted person or are you an introverted person? All of those, again, are amazing strengths. You just need to know what they are. And I've done sessions like these with well over 1,000 different groups. And what I found is most people know these 2 buckets of their strengths, right? You know the stuff that you know, and you've probably done some sort of cognitive assessment, whether you recognized it or not. You may have done a formal IQ test, a short form intelligence test like the Wonderlic, or even something as simple as a typing skills assessment. That's a version of a cognitive assessment. On the affective side, pretty much everybody has done something like DISC, Myers-Briggs, predictive index, what Disney princess character are you on Facebook, right? Some of those are a little bit more scientific and valid than others, but either way, right, they're all looking at some factor of your personality. There's measuring it and relaying the information in slightly different ways. So we have another poll for you that Heather's going to pop up. Which of these assessments have you used in the past? No, it could be all of them, one of them, none of them. All right, so we have a couple of votes for all of the above, some none. All right, so everybody has a vote on the board so far. All right, keep them coming in. Looks like we're at 23. So we'll give you 10 more seconds, and then Heather's going to close it out and share the results with you. So it looks like all of the above is our late favorite. It's starting to pull ahead a little bit. All right, there we go. So Heather closed that out for you. Now she's sharing the results. So you can see all of the above. So many of you are intimately familiar with, these assessments. Again, DISC, Myers-Briggs, Strength Finder, Predictive Index, all of the above, or some of those. And the truth is, those are all really effective assessments, right? And you need to know that information about somebody. You need to know what motivates them. You need to know if they're extroverted or if they're introverted, right? Because if somebody is very introverted and you send them out to a room with 100 strangers and say, hey, go make a bunch of friends, well, you're setting that person up to fail, right? And you would much rather send that extrovert out there who's going to walk out of that same room with 99 brand new friends. But, going back to it, we're all fairly familiar with these two parts of the mind, right? The cognitive piece, the stuff that's locked inside of our head, and the affective component, our motivations, values, and our personality. There's this third part, and what we found is most people aren't really aware of it because we've just been doing it our whole lives. When I was little Eric running around on the playground, jumping off of swings and out of trees and that kind of thing, I was doing the cognitive part of my mind. Now that I'm a working adult, I'm still doing it. When I retire and I hang out on the beach or whatever it is I end up doing, I'm still going to do things in a particular way. That's what we measure with Kolbe. It's all about the cognitive part of the mind. And the great part is it doesn't change over time. So when you're a small child, this is you. Now that we're working adults, it's still you. As you continue to age, it's still you. So these are really durable results. And we have done reliability studies. Basically, right? You have somebody take it, and then at a point in the future, you have them take it again. We've done those out to 20 years. And over 90% of the time, we see no significant statistical change in the results. So we can say, this stuff doesn't change over time. This is you. And that's one of the key differentiators here with Kolbe. Another one of the differentiators is we're the only ones that measure the cognitive piece. The only assessment that measures how you problem solve, how you naturally get things done, Kolbe is it. So you can, when you're introducing this to a new team, to a prospective client, you can absolutely use that as, part of the way to draw them into the conversation. So how do we measure that? How do we figure out what your cognitive strengths are? Pretty simple, right? We have you take the Kolbe A. 36 questions, we make you pick a most, we make you pick a least. And at the end, you end up with 4 colorful bars and 4 numbers. I'm sure most of you have completed your Kolbe A. For those of you that haven't, you absolutely should. Go to kolbe.com, click that little purple button up there in the right-hand corner and take your Kolbe A. We're not going to really dig into, all right, exactly what do the specific numbers mean? What do the colorful bars mean? If you want to learn more about that, we have a fantastic recorded webinar. Go to kolbe.com/activate-your-A. And it's a brief video. It'll walk you through the colorful bars, the numbers, specifically what that means. But for today, what we're going to talk about is, all right, if we understand somebody's natural strengths, we understand how they problem solve. Now, how the heck do we use that inside of our business? And where it really starts is with the Kolbe system that we've developed over these past 40 years, right? And as you start to introduce Kolbe to others out there in the world, you're going to get the question, all right, what the heck is Kolbe, right? It's a question that we're all faced with. Here's the, an easy way to describe it, or, kind of a fun way to describe it. Kolbe is all about unlocking the amazing that's inside of you and the people in your business, right? And it can go much deeper than that, but at a very base level, that's what we can do. We all have things that we're amazing at. And so that's what we help to unleash or unlock. And we want to figure out what is your particular kind of amazing. So I see some of you punching in your 4 numbers there, right? And so I see, some 7734s, some 8526s. Those are different results. Those are different kinds of amazing, but all still fantastic. And that's one of the great things about Kolbe as well, is everybody has a perfect result. It's not a better or a worse. Simply, we're trying to figure out on this continuum, where do you fall? So now that we've answered the question, what the heck is Kolbe, right? We're all about unleashing the amazing inside of you. All right, how do we do that? So here's what I can give you is our promise as Kolbe. Our promise is valuable, actionable insight, right? We're going to give you stuff that you can actually use right away. First way we do that is, as I mentioned, we're the only conative assessment. We're the only assessment that measures what we do, how you get things done. The other thing is immediately actionable advice. I've been on hundreds of calls with leaders inside of organizations where we finish the call and we hit end meeting or we hang up the phone, and then they go out and do the stuff that we talked about. And then later that day or the next morning, they give me a call and say, "Hey, Eric, I did that stuff that you told me and it definitely worked." Like, that is one of the most fulfilling part of my jobs, is knowing that I'm having a big impact in somebody's business by giving them immediately actionable advice. And then the last piece is it's a complete solution. There are assessments out there that are amazing at working with teams, at identifying cognitive abilities, at helping with hiring. But we, in combination with our various assessments and our software solutions, we have brought all of that together. So if you think back to that poll that we asked in the beginning, what would you like help with? Being more productive, teams, hiring, etc. We help with all of that stuff because our focus is the people part of the business. All right. So quick reminder, I said I wouldn't get into it too deeply, but I'll quickly go through the 4 colorful bars. All right. The red one, called Fact Finder, is all about gathering information. All of us have to do it. And whether you're a 1 or a 10, that's an equal strength. Follow through is all about dealing with systems and processes. Again, 1 or 10, all are equal strengths or somewhere in between. Quick start, that green one, it's all about dealing with risk and uncertainty. And then the last one, the yellow one, is implementer. It's all about understanding the physical world around us, the space intangibles. So part of the reason I bring this up is that is actually step 1 in how you integrate Kolbe into a business, right? We need to figure out what kind of amazing do those other people on my team have locked inside of them. And so the first step is, let's identify what those talents are that everyone has. And yes, there are absolutely some additional things we can do, but at the very base level, it's all about identify the strengths of those people. Then that next step, called optimize, is all about how do we get individuals working together, leveraging their various talents to create a bit of that 2 + 2 = 5 kind of effect, right? How do you affect those team outcomes when you get people working together? From there, that next step is called align. That's all about helping that individual. Because here's what I can tell you. I am my best self when I can be a 5392. If somebody asks me and says, "Hey, Eric, you need to be an 8822, I can pull it off for a little bit, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be stressful. In the long term, if you want me to be a valuable member of your organization, just let me go out there and do 5392 stuff. And the same is true for all of you. If you are an 8822, do more of that. Lean into those amazing strengths that you have rather than trying to mold or change yourself. And so align is all about getting how someone gets their work done to align with their natural self. And then what we found is that inside of an organization, if you do all of this stuff, if you identify the natural strengths, if you optimize teams and how people work together, if you align everyone to their role, your business almost can't help but to expand. So you're going to have to find new people and bring them into the organization because you're going to grow at such a rapid rate. And so we also have a hiring tool called Right Fit to help ensure that whoever we bring in, we're setting them up for success because they get to just show up for work and be them. They don't need to fit into some mold, just do more of you. And part of the reason for that is, right, that is our definition of success. Our definition of success is the freedom to be yourself. If you're a 9 and implementer, awesome. Build some amazing stuff and be a 9 and implementer. Same thing, if you're a 9 and fact finder, terrific. Ask a bunch of questions, gather a bunch of info, be you, do more of that, right? It's all about the freedom to be yourself. That's our mission here at Kolbe. And that's what we want to help you do and help those that you interact with in your professional life do as well. So what does your path look like, right? We're all here to figure out, should I be a certified consultant? What would it look like? Those kinds of things. And so now I'm going to answer your question as far as what does your path to success look like in becoming a Kolbe consultant? There are lots of benefits to becoming a consultant. As I mentioned, we have a unique assessment. We're the only ones that measure what we measure, right? And we have a number of unique reports, whether it's our hiring tool that not only looks at an individual side by side with the job, we can also take the impact on the team into account with it, our amazing team reports that we've created, coaching reports, communication reports, lots of different things. We've created all that together to create that complete solution for you. We also give you the business freedom, right? If you're an executive coach, you're a process consultant, you're an internal, HR executive inside of your business, that's okay. We can help figure out how you plug Kolbe into what you're already doing. We don't need you to remake your business model. Another thing is we have continuing education, right? We ensure that those that go out and say, hey, I'm a certified Kolbe consultant, have the most up-to-date information. They're of the highest skill and quality level, right? Because that protects the brand and it protects it for other consultants like you who are going to go out there. Because, right, people talk, they hear about Kolbe. We want everyone that has an interaction with someone from Kolbe to have a positive interaction, because that's going to be amazing for all of us. We also have great networking and mentorship programs. So we currently have a network of over 750 consultants throughout the world. And there are lots of amazing people inside of that network. And many of them are happy to share, hey, here's how I got started. Here's what I'm doing with my business. And we give you lots of opportunities to learn from some of those experts, and you can share with others as well. So whether it's our in-person conferences, our online chat groups, we have quarterly meetups, lots of opportunities to network and meet with others who are out there positively impacting people's lives. As a consultant, you definitely do have exclusive product pricing because, again, you've spent the time and invested with us. And so we want to help you supercharge your business by adding this amazing Kolbe piece. We have tons of marketing and sales resources for you, whether it's graphics or ads you can put in on LinkedIn or Facebook, or things to put on your website. How do you put together presentations? We have support for all of those things. Because again, we know, especially for you external folks, that sometimes is part of the challenge is, how do I get this business growing, or how do I see my ROI? We can help you get to that next client a little bit more quickly. And I showed you that proven process that we have, those proven solutions for how do you integrate Kolbe into a business. And we have a variety of specializations that are definitely, we're refining them, and we're going to be launching some additional ones very soon. If you're interested in focusing on the hiring space or the team space or a number of other interests, we have specializations for that. And, it's great to hear from me, right? Because I'm the Kolbe guy, and, it is important to hear, kind of from the horse's mouth, but you want to hear it from other independent people as well, right? And so here's what some of our certified consultants are saying about how Kolbe has positively impacted their business. So we have Michael Roby, who is a longtime certified consultant with us, based out of Tennessee. As you can see, it changed his life and his business. Amy Riccardi, who's out in Maryland and in the DC area there, she talks about what she loves about Kolbe and all of our tools and the data that it provides. Deidre, who for well over 10 years has been using Kolbe, and she can't imagine running her business without it. We have somebody else, Andrew, who's one of our certified consultants, who In his first 4 months as a certified consultant, made over $100,000. So that he definitely saw his ROI very quickly on his investment. And we have a very newly certified person. I think she got certified in September, I believe, of 2021. In that time frame, she's worked with well over 20 companies, and she didn't have to recreate the wheel, right? She just plugged into our system, followed those steps and some of the advice and the guidance that we gave her, and she was able to land 20 additional clients. And she already had an existing successful practice. So that's kind of what other consultants are saying. So you're not just hearing it for us. There are real people out there making this work that have integrated Kolbe into their business. So what we know, though, is there are certain kinds of people that are really successful at plugging Kolbe in. And let's figure out, okay, who really thrives as a Kolbe certified consultant, right? So established consultants or internal experts, right? So if you have an existing coaching business, an existing consulting practice, absolutely, we can plug into your existing system. If you're an internal XR or HR leader, operations leader, something like that, we can plug into your business as well. The key, though, is you really have to have a vested interest with your clients or with your colleagues. You really have to have that need or that real desire to improve the individual and team performance. If that is your jam, right? If you're all about how do I improve individual or team performance, we can absolutely help you with that. Some other things that we found some of our most successful consultants have, right? They're focused on growth and excellence. They are absolutely driven to make a difference in people's lives, a really big difference in many cases. They're solutions oriented, and they're connected to their clients and the Kolbe community. And not surprisingly, our most successful consultants and those kind of 4 bullet points I listed out there, those perfectly align with our core values here at Kolbe, right? Because when you're working with people that think the same way that you do, that have the same kind of values, even if you have wildly different Kolbe MOs, we can all work together to create and build and transform people's lives and do amazing things together. And so that's what we'd love to do with those of you where that you're sitting there saying, yes, this definitely sounds like me. We absolutely want to connect with you. All right, so what are some of the resources that you have available to you as a Kolbe certified consultant? So the first is, after you get certified, you have 6 months of unlimited coaching from one of our master consultants, because we want to partner with you. We're your partners in success. And so we know that after you get out of class, you're going to schedule a team session or schedule a one-on-one consult, and you're going to run into one of those situations where you say, I know we talked about this in class, but I don't quite remember. That's okay, right? We know that you're not going to remember everything from class, and so we want to help you. So for 6 months after you get certified, reach out to us. We'll set you up with one of our master consultants, and they'll happily walk you through everything you need to get prepared. They'll help you get the resources that you need. Other things, as I mentioned earlier, marketing and sales tools, right? We have digital resources that our marketing team is constantly updating, whether it's podcasts, video clips, our blog, case studies, or even, like I said, just actual graphics that you need to put on your website and your online ads, those kinds of things. Other things that we built, our training team, our consulting team, they've created an amazing library of resources. So if you do, when you do create that or sell that first team session, you're getting ready for it, you don't have to recreate the wheel. We have pre-populated PowerPoint decks. We have exercises that are built in. We have outlines for how do you do those exercises. Same goes if you need to do a one-on-one coaching session with someone. All right, what does the outline of that conversation look like? What kind of information should you have prepared to set you up for success in that kind of coaching situation? We have all of that. Plus, we have worksheets, online videos if you want to dig into specific topics at an even deeper level. We have those available. I think there's well over 60 different titles in our video catalog. And that's actually what I was alluding to, right? Is our our learning library. We have 60 plus videos and we're constantly creating new ones so that you can sort of choose your own adventure as far as what you would like to learn more about, whether it is teams, individual coaching, productivity, hiring, whatever it would be. If it's on the people part of the business, we probably have a webinar that's about it. We even have some that are about how do you grow your business? How do you sell and market your Kolbe practice? So what does the actual process looks like, right? What is your path to success to becoming a Kolbe certified consultant? You've probably already taken the first step. That's take your Kolbe A and attend the webinar. You're attending this webinar, right? Because you wanted to learn more about what does it look like to become a certified consultant. Fantastic. If you want to learn more, you really want to get your individual questions answered, schedule a consultation with one of our amazing account managers here, and they're going to learn more about your business. They're going to help guide you down the right path to success. And then once you're sure, like, yes, this is the thing for me, complete your online application so that we can get you to one of our certification courses. And that's really the next step, right? You got to learn the stuff. You got to figure out, all right, what the heck is this Kolbe thing? What is it measuring? And practically speaking, how do I really use this inside of a business? And that's what our certification course will take you through. And then when you get out of there, as I said, right, we're your partners in success. We're going to help create a year-long strategy session or a year-long strategy and a session for you so that you can really launch your business. From there, right, launching, what we're really talking about there is growing and serving your clients. So I showed you that Kolbe system that we've created. You're going to get lots of resources around that as far as how do you implement Kolbe inside of a business well, efficiently, profitably, all of those kinds of things by following those 4 pillars that we have. And we have outside support for you as well, right? I mentioned our amazing network of consultants. We get tons of engagement in there. We want you to stay engaged, continue to learn, to grow, expand your expertise, those kinds of things. That leads us to the next thing, right? If you're spending lots of time with clients, you're really interacting with them, you're having an amazing impact on their life. The more and more you do it, right, you're going to become a master. And we encourage that. We want you to master the Kolbe theory and master really having an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. And so we have a continuing education program. We have an annual conference that we put on once a year in the fall. It is here in Arizona, and end of October in Arizona is amazing. It's mid to high 80s, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful weather. You can eat outside. You play golf in the afternoons if you want to. So yes, we want to stay connected with you. We want to partner with you, and we learn from each other. So those are really kind of the steps that you're going to take to get started as a certified consultant. So what's your first step, right? We've gone through, you're familiar with Kolbe. You've now listened to me talk about what does it look like to become a consultant? What resources do you have available to you? And if you'd like to connect with one of our account managers and learn a little bit more, you absolutely can. For those of you that are like, yes, this is me, I'm ready to go. Here's your first step. Go to kolbe.com/cert now, and that will help you either get in contact with your Kolbe success partner, or you can fill out the online application right there, right? Something else that you need to do is you need to choose your session. We have both in-person and virtual options. The same content is covered in both of those sessions. We just stretch out the online version to 4 days because we know that, looking at a screen like this for 8 solid hours a day is a lot. And so we give you additional breaks, a little bit longer lunch, but it's the exact same content, whether you're in person or if you're online. All right. So as I mentioned, right, tons of resources for you. We'd love to partner. We'd love to help you. So when you become a Kolbe certified consultant, you're going to get 6 months of unlimited coaching from one of our master consultants. You're going to get sales and marketing tools. You're going to get unlimited access to our business resource library, access to the learning library. You're going to get a seat in Kolbe certification, and you're going to get discounts because you are a certified consultant. we want to make sure that we answer all of your questions. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm also going to check with Stephanie and see if there's anything that I need to make sure that we cover.
Eric, there is a good question here. So if our company is already using Kolbe during the hiring process, how would being a consultant change the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first question is, are you just using Kolbe A's, or are you using the full right fit program? Part of the reason I asked that is, based on the EEOC guidelines or the equivalent in Canada, if you're going to use an assessment in hiring, you have to have some sort of objective measure to which you're measuring those candidates against. And so by using that right fit program, you're kind of staying within guidelines. Also, yes, you need to use that as a part of your hiring process, but then after the fact, you now have this employee, right? What the heck do you do with them? If you get certified, you now can help in the onboarding process, help their leader understand how do you coach and manage that person a little bit more effectively? How do you communicate with them more? How do you help them integrate to their team to create those high performing teams? So there are lots of reasons, even if you're just using it in hiring, to become a Kolbe certified consultant. I see the chat kind of flying by, Stephanie. What else should I tackle?
There's another question. So you mentioned the startup costs. There's a question about annual cost.
Yes. So we run on a training schedule, and it's April to April here at Kolbe. So think of it somewhat like a fiscal year, right? So when you get certified for approximately 18 months, you're good. After that, every year you need to renew your consultant membership. That's what gets you access to all of those resources that I mentioned earlier. And the cost for that is $795 per year. You also do need to maintain your education. So we have a continuing education program. As of right now, you need to earn 7 CE credits. You can earn those 7 credits by either watching 7 webinars through our resource library or by attending our 2-day conference here in Phoenix. All right, Stephanie, what else is going on up there in the chat?
There is another question about how do I get some information on presenting to senior management for buy-in, support, and funding to become certified?
Yeah, so go to kolbe.com/cert now, and I believe there should be a way for you to connect with one of our account managers. They can help you craft your message, put the presentation together, build a bit of the business case for, all right, how would this help our company? And if that's not the case, connect with me and I will absolutely help you put that together.
Great. And Eric, there's some folks who are already, their schedules don't align with our July and September dates. And so there's a question about other sessions. Yeah,
give me 1 second. My dates are over here, so I'm going to turn away from the camera for a second.
We've got a December date, but I think the best thing is to just fill out an application and we can help with figure out what date would be best.
Yeah, so they run approximately every 6 to 8 weeks. If July doesn't work, if September doesn't work, we have December 6th through 8th, and that's in person in Phoenix. And then, beyond that, again, fill out your application. We'll help get you plugged into one of the future sessions.
All right, and then here is a question about, are any of the continuing education credits eligible for other certifications such as HR, or is it Kolbe Cert only? And I can go ahead and answer that one since I'm on here. So we do have our certification program is eligible for some credits for SHRM and for ICF, which is the International Coach Federation. And those are the resource credits, so they don't go towards your main certification, but also some of our ongoing continuing ed credits also can go towards some of those certifications. So we can send you more details if you need additional details, and I will put information in the chat that you can contact us if you need more information on that. Eric, there's also a question here. Can Kolbe tell someone if they have the mind to be a business owner or are better in an employee role?
So that's actually one of the amazing things about Kolbe is it's not what you can or can't do. We're going to tell you how you're going to do it. I've seen thousands of different Kolbe scores. We call them MOs for entrepreneurs. And I've seen some that have results that are very similar to me, some that have results that are similar to Stephanie, some are that are the complete opposite. The amazing part is anybody can start a business. What Kolbe is going to guide you towards is here's how you should start your business. So as an example, there are some people who should just, throw caution to the wind and just go for it because that energizes them and that will get them going. There are others who absolutely should do the research and come up with the plan and think through what their exact business model is going to be for the first year or two, and then go about acting that plan once they've dialed it in. Either way, I've seen entrepreneurs be equally as successful. They just go about it in different ways. So it's not that based on your Kolbe result, you have to be an employee or you have to be an entrepreneur. You can be either. It's all about how you're going to be either of those.
Okay, Eric, there's a question about, are the continuing ed credits included in the annual cost or are these extra?
So yes, included in that $795 annual cost that kicks in after 18 months, the CE credits are included in that. So you get access to that resource library and you can watch those 7 CE credits as a part of that consulting membership fee.
There is an annual conference that might be a bit of an extra fee, but that's not required in order to stay certified.
Correct.
All right, and then similar question about costs for materials for clients, or do the annual costs allow for use and download of materials as needed?
So as far as the resources go, so if you need a team exercise, a PowerPoint, that's all included in your certification and then your consultant membership fee. If you need indexes or team reports or software solutions, those would be in addition to. We can definitely talk you through, all right, how we can plug that into your business and how to do it very profitably. But yeah, you would purchase the indexes from us or the reports from us. You then resell them to your clients, and we're not going to dictate pricing to you. You have business model freedom. However you currently run your business, keep doing it that way. We're just going to help you figure out how Kolbe can fit in there very nicely.
Great. And then maybe could you talk a little bit about software and how that works?
Yeah, so we have a number of software solutions based on what are the needs of your business. At the very base level, all of our software solutions give you discounts to the indexes. So as an example, retail price of one Kolbe A is $55. Right off the bat, when you have software, it drops that unit price to $44 each. And we do have volume discounts on the indexes. Our software also gives you some unlimited reporting capabilities. So you can run an unlimited amount of communication reports, an unlimited amount of coaching reports, comparing one type of index to another index. You can run as many as you want of those. For those of you that do a ton of hiring, you get all of that in our software. Plus we have a hiring tool called RightFit, where you can create as many hiring profiles as you would like. For those of you that work a lot with teams, you get everything that I mentioned, the reports, the comparisons, the discounts, plus you can run an unlimited amount of our vast library of various team reports and configure them in a way that makes sense for you. Based on your, it's hard to answer in a broad audience like this. Connect with one of our account managers and we can definitely guide you down the right path as far as which software option makes the most sense for you.
Okay, Eric, there is a question about languages. There's some folks that work in Spain and Latin America, and are Kolbe indexes available in Spanish?
Yes, they are. So we have a number of clients that are in South America, that are in Spain. So the Kolbe A Index is available in English, Spanish, German, and French.
Okay. And then there's a question about the other indexes. So the B.
Yeah, absolutely. So the primary index is the Kolbe A. That's all about you as an individual, your natural strengths, how you do things. We also have the Kolbe B, which is how do I view my own job? And then we do some comparisons, right? In the ideal world, I'm a 5392 in my Kolbe A. In the ideal world, my Kolbe B would be a 5392, but I've seen thousands of them. That rarely ever happens, right? So if that's the case, all right, that's an opportunity for us to go in and coach that individual. We also have the Kolbe C, which is how does my boss view my job? And then again, we do a comparison. Here's the individual. Here's how their boss sees that job. How closely do they align? In the perfect world, they're identical. Practically speaking, that rarely happens. So again, that's an opportunity for you as a Kolbe certified consultant to go in and help that individual come up with some strategies and some workarounds, because we're all our best selves when we can just be us, when we can be our natural Kolbe MO or our 4 numbers. All right, so it looks like the questions are slowing down. So I definitely want to thank all of you for joining us. We're going to continue to hang out for a little bit, answer any questions that continue to come through. We would love for you to connect with us. So we're on all the usual, social platforms, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We have an Instagram as well. And on Facebook, we have a main Kolbe group, and then we also have some subgroups that are based on your natural strengths. So if you're a 9 in Fact Finder, go join that Fact Finder forum. If you're like me and you're a 9 in Quick Start, go join that Quick Start forum, or whatever your natural strengths are. Jump in there, and you're going to learn from others that have similar Kolbe results with you. But again, I want to say thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It was definitely a pleasure, and I know it's an investment even to take your time. So thank you for that. And we'd love to see all of you at our next certification class. Thank you so much.